and welcome to Joseph's Model Railway and Toy Room. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me. And as always, just a little bit of housekeeping. You don't need to like, follow, or subscribe. Just put some videos out there where I can. Have a holy jolly great time doing so. And we're on to the Model Railway. And guess what? You're going to see some action today. Now, first of all, I do want to just disclose that obviously we're here at the Dad's Army Cricket Oval scene. And this has been going on for quite some time, and it will be unveiled to you in a major sort of a video. It's going to be a big one because we're obviously have been ballasting, we have been doing the grass, we have been laying a lot of things. So I'm going to try not to do much of that as we go on because it's going to make for a long wait between drinks, if you like. In the meantime though, let's just appreciate there are two loops, our Dad's Army loop and the Faulty Towers loop at the other end, which of course is here to serve to act as the return loops so the trains can continuously keep running. So we have a square at the end of the day with a circle in the middle. And as a result, one corner is dictated to the track work on either side that allows it to keep going. And then what we end up with is 1, 2, 3 corners that are pretty much nothing, where we just basically will lay some grass down and put some cows or scenery or trees here, and that's pretty much it. Or can we do more with these ends and turn them into a bit of a feature thing? It's not big enough for really a road and a house and all the rest of it. But then it got me thinking, I think we can do a little bit better. And we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these situations we're going to need to deal with. And the good news is I'm halfway there. So on the other side, I've got something absolutely tremendous I've got planned in the future that no one else has done. So I think that's going to be quite entertaining, since as always, it means we're going to have to construct our own things from scratch. And today, we've had to do something similar. Now, I want to point out in this part of the video that both this section and the one that's just below the camera have been completed. I can't quite unveil that yet because there's one thing I'm just waiting on, but there'll be a little bit of overlap with this video and that video regarding some of the construction and the way it's been built. But you'll see that coming up in just a couple of videos time. In a moment, let's focus on this. So what have we got here? Well, not much. And I apologize, we are going to be talking about modular landscaping in a video, and I was hoping that video was going to be out before we're doing what we do now. However, that's just not the way the deliveries ended up being. So we're just going to focus on this one for the moment. And, well, what have we constructed? Well, we've obviously painted something here and we've put a little bit of burnt grass down. And at the moment, this track, which will run down to the fiddle yard, we haven't quite decided what we're going to do yet. Probably some stone wall or something. It's really just a functionality type of track. We're not really worried about what scenery has to happen there. This is a pretty major corner, and because I might need to get into this cavity every now and then to do something with the TV or the display or just general cleaning, I didn't want to get it too dense with things like trees and that, where you're constantly bumping and knocking things over. And I think any person doing a model railway will appreciate practicality as a key factor. So we need a little piece of modular landscaping that just drops right in. But what on earth could we do, and what sort of scene could we make that might be interesting? Well, I'm going to keep this one brief, and unlike all the other videos where we go through time-lapse videos of construction, there's not a lot of that. We're going to start with the finished product, a few quick pictures of what I did, and that's it. I know I always want to keep it nice and quick for you, so let's just try and do this the best way we can. And ladies and gentlemen, our first completed module section. Ta-da! Yes, indeed. We're going golfing. And what have we got? We've got the tee boxes as we launch off onto a particular hole. So, of course, as you can see, we have the styrofoam construction here. It's all been put together. Everything's glued down, albeit that golf cart, which we'll talk about too in a moment, and it can just drop into place. Now, you'll notice I have put a couple of little bits of aluminium there just to raise it on an angle. It doesn't need to be. It does sit flush down at the right angle, but I did want to actually lift it up a little bit, especially when I shoot this, just to give a bit more perspective onto where it is, and that's going to make a bit of sense. So here it is. As you can see, we can obviously do what we need to in the future with making a perfectly seam join here. I've just created something that lifts out nicely. So let's bring you on in now and see exactly what I have created. And inspiration, as always, whether it be Dad's Army, whether it be Faulty Towers, once again, British comedy reigns supreme. Well, we took great direction from this scene in Red Dwarf, which is one of the most practical model golf courses I had seen to date, and thought I need to do something about making a model golf course too.
Okay. Uphill, slight burrow to the left. Yes! Ah! Hey! 4 up with 6 to play. This guy's okay. Hole 13.
What am I doing? What am I doing?
You're not following through is what you're doing. Keep your head down and follow through.
Why am I playing this?
Because it's Sunday. Time to relax, time to chill, lighten up.
Ah, classic comedy, isn't it? Well, let's see what we can do. Well, first of all, as you can see, it's a nice snug fit right against the edge. And of course, we use these bushes. Not that this is a bunker. We do that at the other side, but just a little bit of dirt patch there as we sort of start opening onto the fairway. And as you can see, the grass starts lightening up as we indicate that. So we've done quite a bit of layering with static grass, and I'm going to be doing a video on static grass coming up. So, but you can just basically see we've taken the stones here. It's actually just some talus. And then I went along with a brush and I just dusted over some lovely Pico brake dust just to give it a bit of a blend, and away we go. And as we sort of come in here, we've obviously coming into our hole, just a bit of cardboard that I had digitally printed with the sign that I was looking for. And of course the timber construction of it, just the leftover bits of the MDF that we find when we were building our stairway, as you'll recall in a previous video. So just those little off-cut bits of timber here that we have, and I just sort of took a knife, cut it to shape, and a light dusting of some brown paint. Although for the most part, you don't even really need it. It's got that natural look to it. So we've just put the trees, and in the traditional fashion, we just take some crushed up leaves from the blender and we put them beneath the bases of the tree so it looks a little more realistic. A few shrubs, some higher fescue and higher type grasses here that we've used, a little bit of dusting of some flowers on top. So there's always a sign that just gives you a rough idea of the hole you're approaching, may have a diagram and certainly tell you about the distances from the tee markers. This is basically where I took inspiration, and I wasn't having much luck trying to paint anything at that level, so all I did was quite simply find the one I liked, shrink it down to size, hit print, and that's how I made that. Some tee boxes are very basic, and then others are very, very lavish with their flower and very ornamental. That makes it excellent for when they're broadcasting on TV, as some of the top golfers tee off accordingly. And I thought I might just try and bring a little bit of interest to mine as well in the limited space available. And so here is this particular guideline for this hole. And if we just make our way up to the steps to our professional tee off, for the ones that truly know what they're doing, somewhere where I won't be standing anytime soon. Ooh, looks like a marvelous shot that's just been hit off there. And if we make our way down to the next level, waiting for someone to tee off, of course. If we just zoom out a moment here to where this person's wandering around, we have a little pathway entering onto where the women's or the novices tee would be. They're just having a little chat there about best position to probably tee off, I imagine. So with the golf cart, as you can see from these pictures, you can't buy the golf cart like this. There is a kit though you can buy, and you'll have to do a bit of work yourself, and I'm not much of a keen modeler, but with the paintbrush it's very difficult coming in at this scale to get anything painted. I tried my best with a steady hand to write ping onto the back of that particular golf club bag, any more than I try to stick with the blue there for the bag. My wife has a Callaway bag, although her and I are not really seasoned golfers. We just like walking around in the well-landscaped grounds. A couple of things about the tee box. If we have a look at these markers that were created, They were created using the leftover footings from a fencing system from Atlas here, you'll see. And as we see in the pictures here, I took them outside, gave them a lick of paint, snipped them up and put them down. So that worked out well. Traditionally, of course, they were little boxes with wet sand in them that was used to tee off. And that's where the name, of course, came from for a tee box. So a little bit of further research into USGA Rule 6.1 regarding the 2 club distance from the tee markers, and that's basically what we did here. A quick rudimentary measurement with our golfer here, and then just did the appropriate measurements and cut a piece of timber accordingly to give me my radius. Coincidentally, the timing could not have been better. We needed to pop down the road to the Sunshine Coast, and as a result, the accommodation we were staying at just so happened to have, you guessed it, and see me in action with my top-notch moves.
Come on, you good thing. Yeah. Come on, boy. Could you believe it? Come on, you good thing. Go home. Oh.
Get out.
Yes.
Here's the actual module itself, just under construction. I thought I'd show it to you now. See, all I've just basically done is paint it in that swamp green. I took a bit of PVA and laid down a few bits of this, I think that's actually just talus. I then just brushed it over with some Pico brake dust. And now we're going to come along and do the static grass around here. But what we've basically got is we have our 3 layers here for our golf, for the professionals, intermediate, and then for the people who can't quite hit so far, and or sometimes categorized with the women's thing. You can see some things up in the air drying here, which are going to be our tee markers respectively.
Crushed that one. That's on the short stuff. Oh, it's in the deep stuff. Too much club. You're dancing. Nice par. Be the club. Ooh, nice shot.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that now concludes this video. I really don't think there is too much more I need to say about this. This is absolutely fantastic. I'm really happy about it. I certainly can't think of any other model layout that I've seen quite this. I see golf happening and all the rest of it, but maybe not quite to this kind of detail. And considering what we had and what we've managed to create, I think this works out quite well. Again, the trees, I didn't go for anything too big here because I don't want to keep bumping them. On the other side, I did need to use a few big ones, but as you'll see, I've come up with a solution that's going to work for us with that. This scene on this angle depicts that the ball is going to head off and it's going to bend off and go onto a dog right type of hole, which will set us up for the next one, which hooks around in the other direction. So when we look at this and come into the room, it's not a situation where the 2 holes would be crossing over each other. They would actually hook off respectively. But you'll get to see a bit more when we head over to see the putting green on the other side that we've been working on in the next video. In the meantime, as always, girls and boys, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We'll see you in the next one. Stay safe. Toodles!